What's up, nerds? I'm CuppaJoey, and welcome back to another episode of r/fyoukaren. The thing about Karens is that they tend to spread into many different subreddits, whether it's malicious compliance, choosing beggars, or so many others as well. Whereas this subreddit sums it all up in a little box of Karen-esque entertainment. Let's enjoy.
Nicole Williams for Congress. I have intermittent asthma and will not be wearing a face mask anywhere I go. If anyone would like to try and stop me, I've got a lawsuit ready and waiting. It is a violation of federal law to discriminate against people with disabilities. Thanks. Hashtag Morristown, here we come.
I bet you do not have asthma, and even if you do, you should stay inside. The bug's going round and it's killing everyone, and it's not gonna be good if you're dead. Well, at least not for you. I don't know the kind of person you are. Maybe you're really mean and set fire to poos and then throw the poos at people's houses, maybe. But anyway, you should stay in. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm doing another one of my songs. This is what I do when I'm just freaking lost as to where to begin. Oh, God. And I swear, there's like, it's like this thing I saw, it goes, it works both ways. You have the right to not wear a mask, but if that's the case, then, places have the right not to serve you, if it's going to be an issue. It is absolutely not discrimination against people with disabilities, and in fact it's keeping you safer, because if you do have asthma and you can't wear a mask, then you're more likely to get sick if you go out. It's to protect everyone, including you, even though you don't freaking deserve it. Oh, it gets even better on this one. This one even called people that disagreed with her commie trolls. So, okay, yeah, I had a feeling that she was going to be Republican anyway. I mean, like, I find that all of American politics is just a bit too right-wing for me anyway, even, like, Democrats. But, yeah, if anybody that wants you to wear a mask is a communist, that's what it is. Anything that's a minor inconvenience to you is communism. That is exactly the definition of communism. If you look up communism in the dictionary, it goes anything that causes a minor inconvenience to you, especially Karen. That is the exact definition, trust Oxford. A local high school teacher at a meeting discussing the use of masks in school in Utah County. Wearing a mask is an act of compassion, and yeah, it is. I mean, I know that we talk about, it's about if you're an asymptomatic carrier that you should wear a mask, and then that way you don't spread it to anyone else. But if there are two people and both are wearing masks and talking to each other at a safe distance, and one of them happens to have an illness, then you would like the chances of getting it, compared to if you're maskless and not socially distancing, is huge. It is definitely worth it. And yeah, like the sign says, it is an act of compassion. It isn't just about us, it's about everyone. Okay. Now, just the comments. The comments weren't, talking about the teacher or anything. They were just having a bit of fun. I believe a group of Karens is called a complaint. I thought it was an entitlement of Karens. It's known as a headache of Karens. I like all of them. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you prefer a complaint, an entitlement, or a headache of Karens? I personally prefer the term outrage, an outrage of Karens. I think that's the best collective noun. Also, just like look at that one male Karen, like wearing the tie in the middle, like with his head up, like, yes, excuse me, I am waiting for you to have my concerns addressed. Like, there's such an entitled look there. It's just like all the looks of like all the people's faces, apart from like a couple that are talking to each other and smiling. Those are all the looks of like, somebody that's waiting for the manager to arrive. Has got something that they want to get off their chest. With especially that one guy in the middle with his head up. Oh God. It's just he is boss Karen. He would like to speak to the council meetings manager. Mother, vaccinate me. Oh, I wish I knew the artist for this. I like this. I mean, I don't know what the original one is. I like it just being punted out the air. For this next one, I was originally planning to just read it out and then give you the context afterwards, because that was how I originally read it, and then the shock that hit me as to what they were talking about afterwards kind of hit deeper. But I think that it's better if you know beforehand, so I'm just going to explain it now. This was the comment on a news article about these kids that got stranded on an island, for whatever reason. I don't know the full context behind it, and they managed to signal for help, and they were rescued because of their quick thinking. You know, it's a feel-good story. It's a shocking story, but it's one that has a happy ending. So Karen thought that this would be, well, her name is Barbara, as you'll find out later on, but Barb Baron, there we go. Barb Baron over here just thought that this was appropriate to say, which is just terrible. I'll just read it out. I've dillied way too much now. They must be from a generation that learned how to spell the old-fashioned way without the assistance of autocorrect instead of those who only know how to type or text. Ho ho! Yeah, well done, Barb Baron. You really owned those, children that were stuck on an island and managed to escape with their quick thinking that, oh damn, they probably know cursive, right? But it could possibly text if they're smart. Oh, you own those Zoomers. Oh gosh, okay, moving on to the person who was a lot more eloquent than me. I'm sorry your generation finds it so difficult to spell help. Do you want an award for knowing how to spell help without autocorrect, or that you can write it in cursive? Kids these days can hack into secure networks and build websites by the time you knew how to spell help correctly. It's not like our generation doesn't learn how to spell. You might not know, but we still have to handwrite our tests. What do you think millennial children do at school? Learn the basics of autocorrect? We're still taught all the subjects just as you were. We still had to learn cursive and would continue writing in it if nearly every teacher didn't accept work written in cursive. I don't understand how people slam on this generation for using too much technology when a 52-year-old man was behind the iPhone and then every parent around the nation bought it for their 10-year-olds. The most hilarious thing about this comment is that it's actually proven that every generation gets significantly more intelligent than the last, as it should be. If you're bitter that your kids have it better than you, I honestly feel sorry for them, because that's the failing at the most basic definition of good parenting. Hey, Barbara, some kids were stranded on an island. They were resourceful enough to signal for help, but I bet they're entitled little pricks. Watch this, I'm gonna be a huge ass on the internet. By the way, you spell fashioned wrong. Oh, if only you had autocorrect, eh, Barb Baron? But really, I mean, what is it with this sort of boomer kind of sense of superiority? I mean, I get that there's a generational divide, and I get that I am a millennial and I'm crapping on boomers, and that it's not fair, and that they have some stuff that, they have issues with us, and, and I'm all for, bridging the gap between generations. I don't think that there's any reason for older generations to not be compassionate. But this has been like an ongoing theme. Like, it seems to be this thing that once people get to a certain age, they just don't like. They think that education's going down. There was actually this letter that I looked at where it was talking about education standards in schools, saying how they're going down, and that was written in the 1920s, and it was complaining because kids were reading novels instead of epic poems. I've spoken about this before, but it's just a classic example about how people don't like change, especially when it comes to education. It seems to be that people grow up in a certain way, and then when they get older, they have a rose-tinted view on the way that it was when they were kids, and they want everything to return to that, but it's not going to, and like I said, it's rose-tinted. So while it was probably good for Barb Baron over here, maybe for her black neighbours it wouldn't have been. I'd like to speak to the manager and the police. I'd like to speak to the police manager. Oh, God. So I've blocked out the kids' faces. They were just, three standard grinning kids, as you'd imagine in this kind of family. All as you can see. I mean, I don't know if you can see on the third one, but yeah. Wearing the thin blue line American flag, which at this point is just a fascist symbol. What gets me though is the absolute difference in facial expressions. Like Karen here, she looks so pleased with herself. I look at that bright grin. She thinks, "Yeah, we're really showing that. We're really showing that we support, the military state." Like, yeah, that's great. And then like the guy is just there, like he looks like he's just let out a fart and it was a dangerous one, like a poo is imminent. Like he's just trying to clench it in until the photo shoot is over, and then he's allowed to let out Montezuma's revenge. And so he just looks so uncomfortable, and he does it like he's trying to hold in a poo. I'm sorry, but that's the kind of the hold the pain Harold kind of facial expression, hide the pain Harold rather, kind of facial expression. Oh God, yeah. I mean, I'm glad you're proud of your fascist family, Karen. Healing magic is cool, but knowing enough to wash your freaking hands is even cooler. Oh, yes. I love Rick and Morty. I know that it was, hijacked by a pretty toxic fandom, but, that's not going to stop me from liking it. And I love, like, little nods to real life like in this. I really do. This is tyranny. Tyranny. Noun. Arbitrary and blah 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 blah. It's a definition that she copied and pasted. Let's move on. These masks are made of cheesecloth, extremely porous, pointless, and perfectly acceptable at places mandating masks. Many are using bandanas, shirts pulled up over noses, contaminated medical masks, masks with holes cut for airways, unwashed handmade masks, and a host of other items being utilised all across America for false protection. We are being lied to. We have been told to quarantine, to hug our relatives to a computer screen, to stay inside, to not play on playgrounds, to not go to weddings or funerals or churches, but killing preborn babies is still okay. Oh, how surprising. She's against choice, okay. To only shop at big box stores, to look forward to a vaccine, to report to our friends to not wear masks, and now we must wear masks. It's not a big of a deal, just wear the mask, just love your neighbour, any protection is better than none, you are selfish. I mean, yeah, I agree with all the quotes of the people who are supposedly attacking you, but here we go. We're told masks will protect us, yet the science, studies, experiences, and many professionals do not agree, and yet whenever you ask them to quote anything, they cannot. We need to make non-emotional, educated decisions about this issue. Yes, and they have been done. You are making an emotional decision. You're making a very emotional decision. You don't like that people are telling you, oh, it would be safe if you do this, and that's why yeah. God. God, okay, moving on. We need to be able to make individual choices pertaining to masks. We need to stand firm that each of us has a God-given and constitutional right to decide what we put on or in our bodies. Okay, there's a lot to chew on there. There's a hell of a lot to chew on. I mean, first of all, she's talking a load of bollocks. I don't like her kids. I know that's a really harsh thing to say. Normally I would cover up the kids' faces, but to be fair, with the masks, with the "This is Tyranny" masks, I don't think that it's going to make, I don't think they're going to be identifiable at all. Also, this is public, and it's a really cringy picture. I hate it when they're doing the whole hands on hips, folding arms, like, we're not putting up with this, and they would have told the kids to stand like that. And they're teaching their kids all these really, really unhealthy lessons, and they got freaking 5 of them as well. I mean, oh, this is another post that just makes me need to poo. I want to poo everywhere and give her my poo. And be like, here, wash with this. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just really annoyed at this point. It's not freaking tyranny. And the fact that they just really want to be oppressed so bad. They want to be part of some regime and be freedom fighters so bad. But they just have absolutely freaking nothing to fight against. It's a virus. It's not it's not, people. It's a virus. There's nothing you can do about it except for the guidelines, and you're refusing to do them. So yeah, your kids are going to be hands on hips for much longer. They're going to be, in a ventilator. And yeah, it is your right to say what goes on your body, but if you would rather be breathing through tubes and a ventilator and, watching as you're unsure whether you're going to make the next day as opposed to wearing a bit of cloth over your mouth for a few minutes, that's your freaking choice. Karen's, after saying gracias in a Japanese restaurant, Mrs. Worldwide. Oh God. I've been there. Like I've said, I'm the linguist, so often before we go to another country, I will just try and learn the very basics just in case something goes wrong and I need to figure out how to get somewhere. And I remember once hearing the word like dziękuję, thank you, in Czech, being slowly morphed back to thank you, and it was even going past like the danke step. Like, no, we're not in Germany now, it's the Czech Republic. Ah, yes, well done, well done. This Karen figured out a way that he could be, he could wear a mask while not having to wear a mask. This is a Karen that's beaten the system and he's hilarious. He's just gonna kill all the vulnerable people in his family, but it's worth it to make a damn point. Also, I can't really tell what's going on here, but from the looks of it, it seems like he's working in some kind of food establishment, which is really worrying. Like, if he's, like, coughing and hacking and phlegming all over some, some eggs and onions that he's frying up, then, that... Oh, God. Wait, does his shirt say Sue the World? I thought it said, Oh God, I thought it said save the world at first. I thought, well, that's a bit ironic. But does it say sue the world? What the hell does that even say? Can anyone tell me what that says? Because it's something the world, but that's just really... Or is it save the world? Because if it's save the world, the fact that he's wearing that is really pissing me off. Bread and chocolate, you can go to hell. Just stopped in to buy a $10 croissant. Forgot my mask. If it is a requirement, you should have them at the door. Being rude to a customer of years who has put up with the randomness of what may or may not be available on any given day at any given time is not something I'm okay with. They can frick off. People look sexier in masks. Not so sexy when they are sick or dead. You would curse and stop patronage to a place because they're concerned with the health of people? Shame on you. Good job, bread and chocolate. Random, I'm gonna say that M in this situation is really creepy. I mean, I get that their point. It's like, it's like a point that an Italian, I don't know whether they were a doctor, but it was somebody who was like one of the medical panelists in Italy at the height of it in Italy, and he said, something along the line. He was talking about people getting their hair done, and when they, it was during lockdown that they couldn't have their hair done. And what he said was, nobody's gonna see you now. You don't need to look beautiful for your coffin. And I think that that's really true. Like, I have quarantine hair at the moment, my hair is never this long, and I look like a mad professor all the time. I keep saying that. I've now dyed it pink, so I look like, a fairy mad professor. That's fine with me. I'm all cool with that. But the whole people look sexier in masks, it just felt like a weird comment to make. I just felt like it was a bit, it just rubbed me up the wrong way, pun intended. But that whole being rude to a customer of years, like, no, you're not that important. They always think that they're so much more important than they are. And with the small businesses, when you have the regular patrons, yeah. But like bread and chocolate, is that just because it's pain au chocolat? Because, the pain au chocolat is more of a, a pastry, even though it's called bread. But moving on. I like the fact that they were called out and basically saying, look, if you're going to be that way just because they're trying to protect people, then that's a you problem. And then that whole who has put up with the randomness of what may or may not be available. Like, it's not just you, Karen, having to deal with this, or Jaren, as it's a J. Like, everyone is having to put up with the randomness. I don't know why these Karens go around acting like this whole situation just happened specifically to attack them. Like, everyone's having to put up with the randomness. Everybody's, life has gone out of control. I'm working from home at the moment. It's weird, And I have been doing for the last few months. But, it's something that we've all had to get used to. You're not special. Also, random side note, what freaking croissant costs $10? That just seems like an obscene amount. Well, that's it for this episode of r/fyoukaren. I do hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you didn't, do know that you can talk to the manager. As I say at the end of every episode, if you enjoyed hearing from this subreddit or would like to hear from any other subreddit, then do let me know in the comments. And until then, I'll see you all next time.